Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is the Modern Witchcraft Guide to the Wheel of the Year, From Samhain to Yule, Your Guide to the Wiccan Holidays by Judy Ann Nock. To be perfectly honest, I did not like this book, so we'll get into it more at the end of the video, so the beginning part of this might be pretty short because it's the details of why. So briefly, it's what the title suggests. That's how most of the witchcraft books are. It goes over briefly the Wheel of the Year. It does have some random emphasis on constellations versus the normal things you're gonna find in beginner books for the Wheel of the Year. As an FYI, I rated this a 2 out of 5. It was not one of my favorites. The main reason is that I did not trust the author or the content at all. And this random association with so much emphasis on the constellations was just weird for this kind of a book. And again, I don't know where some of the things came from this author because I haven't seen it anywhere, and I would say I've read a decent amount of books. I don't know if I would say I've read the most, but I feel like as a whole, as a community, I'm in the top section at least of people who have read a lot of books because that's what I do. I've read hundreds of witchcraft books. Never stumbled across these things before, and there's no references, so I have no idea where they got the information. So who's the intended audience? If you are interested in a different approach to the Wheel of the Year, might be for you. Would I buy it? No. No, absolutely not. Glad it was at the library. So onto the specifics. Similar to a book I did semi-recently, we're gonna do it per section. So obviously the Wheel of the Year, we're gonna go through the Wheel of the Year. So Samhain section, my notes are, again, the weird astrology star emphasis thing that was really weird. And the majority of the sections, all of them had this. It was a lot of just meditation, not really a lot of ritual or things to do. And for this one in particular, there was a heavy emphasis on Hecate, and that was about it. Next, we've got Yule. Again, questioning the research for this book. So there was a huge emphasis on the Greeks and the smidge random bit for the Celts. The information on the Norse seemed very intentionally to be lacking for this one in particular, because most of the time when you're talking about Yule, you're gonna relate it back to the Norse, the title comes from the Norse. It's spelled very differently, but it's J-U-L, but it's pronounced Yule-ish. It has a very thick accent attached to that I cannot replicate, but it is from the Norse. That's where we get the name, but there was no mention of it at all, so that was it felt very intentional. So then we get to Imbolc, and I don't know where this came from. I tried to Google it for a solid 20 minutes and I could not find anything. I have no idea how to pronounce this word, but it's basically a circle instead of a Bridget's cross, talking about it and describing it as the Bridget's cross, but it's not. And then there was this quote that it's a bit of a misnomer that this is a circular rather than a four-way motif, as its name suggests. That's not a Bridget's cross, bro. A Bridget's cross is kind of a traditional cross shape. It's more of a square in the middle, but it still points out in the four directions. It's not a circle. I don't know where this information came from. Again, I tried to Google it to be is this a thing? Because no, the Bridget's cross is that is easy to find instantly. You've got listings to buy them, you've got artwork with it, it's a big thing. But then you look up the if we're butchering languages, it looks like Cros, Brigid, butchering words, but it's C-R-I-O-S and then B-R-I-D-G-H-E. It's not the Bridget's cross. Don't know where that came from. Then we get to Ostara, and by that point I was just really questioning the research and was getting really done with this book by that point. Beltane had a couple fun points, and by fun, all of the sarcasm. So in Beltane, we get the classic line that of course can't resist adding, right? Before we can love another, we must love ourselves first. One cannot hope to give what one does not already possess. So if you struggle at all with self-esteem, self-love, you're just screwed. Great message. Then, as if that wasn't bad enough, later on, the maypole is sometimes interpreted as a sort of degradation, I think is how you're supposed to say that word, degradation is what it looks like, but I don't think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not great at reading out loud. I can read words, I can't make them out loud. That's why I hate audiobooks when I have to record them. Anyways, of the world tree in Norse mythology, never once, ever, has the world tree, Yggdrasil, been compared to the maypole. That's just not a thing. In any of the Norse books I've read, any of the witchy books I've read, that's just not a thing. So that was really making me question it, because like, where did you get that? By the time we got to Litha, I was really at the point of like, why would you read this? Like, I don't trust the author, I don't trust their research, I don't trust anything in this book. By Lughnasadh, the only other point that I had, other than like whose research, was that the author seems to pick like one deity to focus on, and that's it. There's no other emphasis or any other meaning to the holidays as she's going around. It's just the one. Mabon, kind of the same notes as mentioned before, that it's like, you just picked one and went with it, I don't trust your research, etc. So in the Esbats section, the only thing was that it kind of had a conclusion that's like tacked on at the end of the chapter. Not even a heading, nothing. It's just like, the last paragraph is like a sort of conclusion to the book, which like, it's there kind of technically, but like, not much, really. And then very lastly, I just wrote, very telling that there's absolutely no references included. I have no idea where this information came from. I don't know what research you did to find this stuff, because I'm questioning a lot of it. A lot. And I've tried to find certain ones, and I can't find where you got it from. Is it just something that you've intuited? Or like, did you look it up? Because if it's intuited, I feel like you need to mention that. Of like, in my experience, this is how I view it, and why. And if it's from somewhere else, be like, it's traditionally believed, it's commonly believed, blah, blah, blah. Something to indicate. But she doesn't really specify either way for that. And other people had mentioned this too for this one, but without any references at all, any sources for me to go to and be like, where did you get this? I have no idea. For all I know, you just made it up on a whim, just went on your way, did some Google searches, and that was about it, and you just went with the first results. And that's kind of what it felt like. So those are my thoughts on this book. I would love to know yours in the comments down below. A huge thank you to my patrons. If you want to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.